call the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone had an opportunity to read the minutes? Any additions? Corrections? Adjustments?
None being heard, I'll move we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of June 4.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Mail.
I have.
Anyone else have any mail?
Yes.
Okay. Dale?
About the middle of last month, I think everyone got some mail from Adrian Ellis, the Emergency Management Director. And at last month's meeting, we had some discussion about a grant to pay for the Everbridge warning system. And the money hadn't come through. And I got this memo in my mailbox from Adrian explaining that how he had applied for a grant from FEMA to pay for that service. In a very short explanation here, FEMA said that they would have paid for the installation but not the continuing service. And he has submitted a request and asked if they could fund the weather portion of the system. As of this date, nothing has been heard, and the weather portion of that system would be worth $5,000 to us. So the question came up last month, why we hadn't received any of that $18,000 grant money that we were expecting. And he went to great lengths in this memo to describe the grant process, how it works. And I don't know if I'm the only one that got a copy of that or not.
I got a copy of it as well.
Okay. Did anyone else get that? Did you get it, Jim?
Last night.
Okay.
From Adrian?
Yes.
Yes, I got that.
Okay. Well, that answered some questions for me that we had for Terry Bennett last month about the paying for the Everbridge service.
The request for additional that she, because we hadn't received the grant.
Right, and that's why we haven't had the money come in. And originally, we were in a mutual agreement between the county and the city for the city to share the cost of that. I think since then, the system has been paid for another year through
Through 911,
through
just
the
transfer
911
funds.
wireless fund, yes.
Health Department had helped pay for some of that, I think, last year through a grant, but that wasn't available this year.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to deliver that explanation. It was left over from last month's meeting about that.
I appreciate that, Dale. Thanks for reminding us. And did you understand the same way I did that they do intend, or Adrian intends to request the $5,000 for the weather system that would qualify for the?
Yes, he says he has submitted a request for it.
Okay.
We'll just have to wait and see if we get it.
I understand the distinction between the two, a new purchase and versus ongoing, because we should be able to fund it with within the budget system. But at the same point in time, I think it is a sign of things to come that the grant money that has been helping us fund many things in the county and the city as well, that things are tightening up. There's just not enough, there's not as much money to go around.
It's true. That's all I have for mail,
Okay,
Madam President.
thank you. Anyone else? Item number 4 is the county attorney. And I think each of you have had the opportunity to meet and shake hands with Chris Appel. Chris is a new employee with Baker and Bodwell as of yesterday, started his first day yesterday morning. And in the interviewing process, he's made council aware that he would be interested in being the representative, the legal representative for the council, and in addition to the commissioners. And so I forwarded his resume, impressive resume, and he's been working with various, 2 different law firms, in addition to finishing his law degree up at IU Indianapolis. So if we could have perhaps some discussion or a recommendation from the floor, would like to propose that we not search any further. I know Barton and myself both have made inquiries about who we might hire to take the place. AJ, we're glad that he's got a new full-time job in Wayne County, but at the same point in time, we need someone here in Fayette County.
I'll make a motion, we hire Chris Appel for our county attorney.
Thank you.
Council.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you,
Would
guys.
you, questions or comments? Usually we meet on the first Tuesday of every month, 6 o'clock. We, because of the things going on with the bicentennial every evening last week, we changed meetings. But normally when the first Tuesday. The meetings are always held right here. I know because you're brand new, each of us will try to answer any questions you have. I did tell Debbie about the needing a sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
One of the requirements. So we'll move on down to number 5, reports. Commissioner's representative, Barton.
The last 2 meetings, we haven't had a lot of items, but we have been made aware of some extra money that's gonna have to be spent. Bill Gray informed us the last meeting, the elevator in the annex is broken. That's gonna have to be repaired, and they're gonna have to jack it up where they can even find out what the problem is, so we don't know what that cost is gonna be. We did apply for a home rehabilitation grant, which we have done in the past. Iron Grant presented that to us. That's for the low-income people where they get help on repairing their homes. And she indicated that instead of a match on that grant, it would probably could do some in-kind thank you to contractors or the people themselves, so we're not anticipating spending any money on it.
Okay.
We applied for another grant, a health care innovation grant for the 9/11 or whatever. That's a $300,000 deal. If we do get it, it will be no matching money, but the anticipation is that that's going to be awful hard to get.
What's the 911 grant to
It's
be?
for some new equipment for the 9/11, and I'm not sure
Equipment
exactly.
and software too.
Yeah, equipment and software.
Does that have to do with the texting?
Well, just a little bit, but the way I understand it, when an emergency call comes in, they now go through flip charts, like,
And this all going to be on the
And
screen.
now it will
What
be all
questions
on
do you
screen
ask
and
now
automated.
in the sequence so they can just settle right there and do it?
it's to improve service and communication and
Thank you.
The council had asked us to see if there's any other buildings for our county highway garage, existing buildings that we could get. We have advertised at By the time our next meeting comes, those proposals are supposed to be here if anybody has a building that they think would serve our purpose of 20,000 square feet and at least 22-foot ceilings. Right now, we have 2 people that have offered their buildings to us,
200,000 square feet?
20,000. 20,000 square feet.
20,000.
And 22-foot, minimum 22-foot ceilings.
22-foot ceilings.
Yeah. We need at least 22 feet to get, so we can lift our trucks up when we get inside.
Okay.
We've also advertised for architect qualifications, and so we can see which route we're going to go. So we're heading down that route to try and get a highway garage. You know, if you people have any second thoughts about appropriating money for them, we need to know it before we spend any money. But I can tell you again that building is shot, and we need a building in the worst way. If it was in good shape, it doesn't cover our needs. You can't get 2 pieces of equipment in there to work on at one time. You can't get all the equipment in it. So we do need a building. We gotta
Mr. Parker?
all the other,
Can I interrupt you? I've thought about this highway garage since last meeting, and I know we got problems down there and we need to do something, but I'm proposing that we get bids from local contractors to go in and fix that building. Have them come in, go around on their own, each contractor, find out how many posts are bad, and give their solution to fix them and submit a bid. And then we review those bids based on that. Now, obviously, you're going to get different opinions. One's probably going to want to replace the post the entire length. Some can cut it off at a lower length and splice them together. But with the present state of the county, I don't see, and I do not want to deplete that capital improvement plan down to basically nothing. I just
well,
think
neither
we
do
at this
I, and I
time
think
should
we can
this
do it
one.
without depleting the fund clear down to nothing.
No, it's going way down. We're taking 2/3 of it out. And
If
I
we-
don't want to do that much. That's my opinion.
If
So I
we-
would like to see bids turned in from contractors on how they propose to fix it, and then their bids, how they're gonna do it, how many posts need to be, in their opinion, how many posts need to be replaced.
Didn't we do that last year? Didn't we?
I think we did. And what is your response to the fact that the building, if it was in good shape, is not all that we need? You can't get all the equipment in there. You can't get one piece of equipment in at a time to work on.
Well, we've been sitting with this problem for I don't know how many years, and I don't know why all of a sudden
And we've
this
been
year,
kicking it down the
it is
road
a
every year.
rush. It is a rush.
Every building.
Releasing, what, 4 trucks that you got the other year?
We got 5 trucks.
5. And we're leasing those, so the county doesn't own those.
They will own them when the end of the lease is up.
But I don't know why it's all of a sudden a rush, and we've been this way, this building's been like this for decades, our equipment's been sitting out. That's my opinion, okay? I'd
Okay.
like to hear what the other council.
And my opinion is, because you've had a problem for years, you know, don't mean you have to keep on having the problem. Sometimes you have to fix the problem.
Martin, a few weeks ago, I haven't got back with Miles of Richmond, and I forget the gentleman I talked to, but he said he would come down and give a estimate on how much it would cost to repair that building. And, you know, that garage down there been good for 30 years. If they can repair it, it should be good for another 30 years.
It still does not serve the purposes of what you need. You cannot get all the equipment in it, and you cannot get but one piece of equipment in at a time to work on.
Does all highway garages around here at the other counties, do they have big enough garage to put all their equipment in?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
well,
know
one
one
thing I'm
thing, you
saying,
don't,
one thing I'm saying is, Martin, I hate to see us put that much money into a building that we really don't need. You know, what we have had for the last 30 years have worked. And if we can repair this one for 1/10 of the cost, it'd be better off for the taxpayers.
I don't know how the budget hearings are coming right now, but I know last year we were in trouble, and I would assume this year we're in
again, let
worse
me
trouble.
tell you, Mr. Flum, that you
Pardon?
keep, let me reiterate again, that your cum funds.
I understand that, but there's
You
other.
understand what?
Barton, we got how many lawsuits hanging over us right now? Our premiums have doubled.
And-
Now,
and
we
what
got
does
other
that got to
problems.
do with your
We got a lot
cum
more problems that's gonna come along, so I just see at this point in time, it's not the right
Well,
thing to do.
that's your prerogative.
It is, my opinion, and everybody that I've talked to since last meeting has told me the same thing. Do not put money into that garage down there. I have not heard one person that has commented, let's do something.
Well, Mark,
Yes.
you just said do not put money into that
Well, I-
garage.
I will
What
fix
you
it.
in fact are proposing is that we
Yes.
do pour
I'm
more
not talking
money
about
into.
$500,000 to $600,000
Okay.
is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'd like to suggest is, that the commissioners consider at their next meeting whether or not you choose to seek bids. I think between Mark and Jim and others that I have also heard from, that there are people interested in looking at it. And then, as commissioners make the choice, and then, again, you ask us whether or not the council would support. So I think you have an indication which way they want to go, whether or
I
not,
think what
it
we
all
need
comes
is
down
an
to a vote.
indication of how much money they will put in a highway garage. That's what we need to know. Now, if you're going to go to your route, then I suggest you hire somebody to go down there and draw up the plans and cost estimates of what it's going to cost you to do that. But you're against building any more garage on, as I understand it.
At this time.
Well, that's your prerogative. We can do nothing if the
No,
council
it
chooses
needs
not to.
repair.
not
It
to
needs
appropriate
repair. I'm
money.
saying, we need to repair it, at least. That, we need to replace the posts that are bad. That has to be done. I don't know only two of us have spoken about this. So I don't know what anybody else thinks, but.
What do you feel, Mark?
Well, there's different ways you can go. You can repair it. You could build you a new shop for it too. You don't have to put a whole big thing up. I think you need to see which way we can save the most money, really. You don't have to go in there and build a brand new building, a great big one. You can build different pieces of it at a time. That way you don't have that cost coming later on when it starts going bad to replace everything. Kind of just scrabble your money out on that.
Well, and I think that perhaps that's something that if in fact the commissioners decide to go out and request bids for repair, perhaps they each have some suggestion on the best way to go. How you can get the most function for your dollars.
Yeah, because if we repair this, that's not gonna be over the cap where we gotta advertise it. It's not gonna cost that much, I don't think. So that's why I'm just suggesting get different opinions from different contractors on how they would approach fixing it.
That's
See
like
see what their cost is.
if you just need storage, you can get one of them hoop buildings, and they're cheap. Rush County uses.
That's true, yeah, Rush County has one over there, that's correct. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes.
The only problem I have against the hoop building where we're at right down there, the people in the trailer court, they were already had a window shot out of our distributor truck before we started sealing. They just tear it all to pieces. The kids over there are constantly throwing stuff over, getting in the lot. And I don't care what you do, they'll cut the fence to get in. They've done that before. I've called the sheriff down there to cut the fence to let their dog back in their yard. You're in a bad location to put up a fabric building like that, because they will tear it all to pieces.
All right.
He's going bigger than that.
Barton, was there anything else?
I guess we're done talking about this, right?
Well, unless you want to have
I'm
another straw
kind
vote.
of at a loss, I thought the commissioners were supposed to find out from the council what they could spend, and then the commissioners use their judgment of what they should do, but I guess that's not the case, so.
My concern is that we spend $200,000 on a repair. That's only going to be good for 10 years. In another 10 years, we spend another $200,000. We could have had a new building. So what I'm saying is investigate what Mark said, but I don't know if it's the wise thing. This county has a history of half-assing things. And that's what this sounds like to me.
Now, I know, Barton, you have one of the
Not what
two-
you're doing.
I know you have one of the two, potential people that want to sell their building, that is willing to sell his building over a period of 5 to 7 years. And that would be beneficial to the county, so, but I still think.
Well, if you build a new building would probably get the same thing, you know.
What's that?
But it just boils down to how
You mean
much,
paying over that period of time?
beg your pardon?
You mean paying it over that
Yes.
period of time?
Yes, just like we did the trucks. I mean, we're buying the trucks, but it's over a period of 5 years, I believe. The trucks are 5 years,
Yeah.
you know.
I think we need to look at all options, and I understand they're concerned about spending money, but I think we'll be spending more money over the cost of the period of time, just bandaging this thing back together.
Right. You know, the commissioner's done what you asked us at the last meeting to look into the new buildings, and now what we really need to know is how much money the council needs, thinks that they can spend on highway garage, and then we'll go from there.
And you get these estimates, ask them, how long are you gonna guarantee your repairs for?
Right, we
Are you gonna
can't,
guarantee it for 30 years? Probably not. You know that, and I know that. They might guarantee it for a year.
So, you know, I'm getting differences of opinion on the council, so I still don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Well, I thought it was pretty clear last month, but apparently it's changed.
So where do we go?
I think, Bert, you've got to get some estimates on the way it sounds, that you got to get estimates on what it's going to take to fix that building. And that's your guys' call to get those
Well,
estimates.
we can get.
As commissioner.
We can get the estimates.
But the
but-
problem that we're going to have, we can build a new building, everybody can build a new building, but the upkeep of the buildings that we have, we don't take care of these buildings that we do have. This is the reason why we end up with no courthouse with a piece of junk we had. Everything we got, we never put any money in for upkeep. And back when I was a county commissioner, we asked this council to give us money to fix that thing. You think the council would give it to us? No. So we're back to square one again. We don't upkeep nothing that we have.
So what are you saying?
So I'm
we should
saying
do?
that what you're gonna need to do is find out, it sounds like from this council, what you need to do is find out what it's gonna cost to repair this building. It doesn't sound like anybody wants a new building. Maybe one or two do, but the majority doesn't.
Well, see, that's.
But if we don't
that's
if we don't
just the
start
opposite
taking
of what
care
I
of the
heard
buildings we
last
got,
month.
we're gonna run into the same problems.
You know,
Our jail fell down, you know, I mean, we just keep letting stuff fall apart.
so what has that got to do with what we're talking about now?
Well, what you're
Don't
talking
build a
about now is
building
getting
because you're gonna
estimates
let it
on
fall
that
down?
building.
Is that what
I
you're
think what
saying?
we're talking about now is getting estimates on the building with the repair. Is that sort of the answer?
Yeah, you need to look at all angles of it.
now, I'll make a motion that we authorize you to go out and, however many contractors that are interested in giving you a bid, on to repair that building. Let them come in, determine on their own. The reason I don't want to draw it up, because then you got one person's opinion on how to fix it. I want these contractors, I'd like to have several different options on how they see it to repair it, and then we review those, and then go from there.
Is there a second to Mark's
Well,
motion?
we don't need authorization to do that. I mean,
No.
the commissioners,
No.
if that's what you want to do, the commissioners will do it. But I would like for you to finalize what it is you do want us to do. Like I said, the last meeting, you wanted us to
I can't
try and
authorize how.
try and find another buildings and compare that against building a new one. Now, this meeting, it's something else. I just need to know what it is that you're gonna finance.
Well, we'll know that when you give us these bids, we'll know which way we want to go.
Okay.
We'll go one way or the other.
Okay.
We have to
Perhaps-
do one of the two.
Perhaps we could put a grid together, a piece of paper together, so that we can see and make comparisons, how long it would be expected to last if we put a new one versus bought and existing versus repaired, dollars and time, and, you know, we could, I don't know that that will give the answer. It certainly won't help us have any more money to spend. But based on how long each of the options would be expected to last, what function we can have out of each of the different options, and go from there.
Of the other two sites, did they give any time frame on when the county could take possession of those buildings if we decide to go that way?
They wanted a few months.
A few months?
Yeah, probably, if you done it now, probably you'd be in there for the first of the year, if that's what you wanted to do.
Okay.
Both buildings would work. One, we'd have to spend some money on. You've been up there, we'd have to put some doors in. The other building, we probably wouldn't have to do anything,
Right.
you know. And then you gotta weigh that against where they are, the location.
I'm sure there's pros and cons.
There's pros and cons.
On each
against
of the
both.
different
You
choices.
do have buildings there that you could move around to as soon as they get out. They're not new, but they're almost new. You know,
I don't know if you're at liberty to say who the buildings are. I've been to both of them.
well, I'd rather not bring that up.
Okay, that's
Bring
fine.
that up now until we decide that we're interested in doing that.
Right, okay, okay, I got no problem. I think of the two, to me, is obviously, one is the obvious one to take, but we'll wait on
One
it.
of them, like I say, you could move right into,
Yes.
plus it's got room that you could put something else in if you wanted to in finished space, you know.
And that one has the ability, has enough site acreage that we can keep everything there and not have to keep
It has
any-
more acreage than the other
Yeah.
one, yes.
The
Doesn't
other
it-
one, we'd have to have both sites, and I don't really want to have two sites.
it
You
does
see that
make
as a
it-
problem, Jay, having,
I see as a problem in the wintertime, you'd have to have a piece of equipment over there for the other side to load your stuff, your gravel and
Okay.
stuff out of.
okay.
We'd probably have to leave a payloader down here to load
Biggest
gravel and
negative is the
sand
location
stuff and
in the
leave
residential area.
part of that old building to put it in maybe, or,
Railroad track.
you know.
Railroad track.
And I think that's part of the decision-making process, the pros and the cons.
Right. But, you know, I would like to do whatever we're going to do before long. I always thought you could do better a building or remodeling or whatever you're going to do in the summertime instead of trying to do it in the wintertime, the snow's blowing, you know. But
Martin.
we'll,
Martin, before you close this discussion, could I throw one more piece of confusion into this argument?
might as well.
If we abandon the current property that we occupy on 121, wouldn't that automatically fall into a brownfield qualification that would need a clean bill of health by the EPA and the IDM in order for us to dispose of
I'd
it?
say you're probably going to have to do some testing to see what it is before you could, anybody that would buy it would require that being what's been there. That's just normal procedure, you know.
IDM has a pretty good record of finding contaminants in the soil when they want to, don't they?
They already have monitoring wells down there. They've already tested that, because they just finished up this year, and did the last payment on it. They've been checking it for the last, Debbie's been going on for 5 or 6 years.
And it's been going on for a while,
Yeah.
and just finally signed
Because
off
when they
on
took their upper
it.
gas tanks out, they had a leak in one of the tanks, and they had to do it for that. So it's all, they got monitoring spots in the lot, and they're doing it now, and they've already sealed them back up already.
So we're okay?
We're okay on that,
Where's
towards
it
the
right
right
now?
monitor, yes.
Okay.
So you don't see any danger of the possibility of $1 million environmental cleanup down there?
I wouldn't think so, not if they've been monitoring it, they would have found some. They said it was, they did all the stuff to the, what's the name of this company? IDM, is that it?
Oh,
I do.
Yeah.
yeah.
IDEM, is IDEM overseeing it? IDEM, is they over?
No,
they're
it
overseeing-
was-
They have to approve everything they send to them.
They have a funny name, what is their name?
An IDEM-approved contractor.
Well, it's a contractor, and then they submit reporting and everything to IDEM that then has to be approved. Deer, Creek Run, wasn't that it, Jay?
What?
Creek Run or something
Yeah,
like that?
Creek Run, that's the name of
Yeah,
it. They're up around Fort Wayne, I think.
yeah.
How many acres down there, Martin?
9.
Okay.
9, but it's not
Not all you.
flat usable ground. You know, you got that hillside there. So
What's the minimum number of acres you would need, do you think, Jay?
I think if you measured all what we used, probably got about 4 acres there. Because we got an acre that goes behind the trailer court, we got an acre down over the hill where we store scrap cement at. And that's really, it can't be used for anything. We mow it, but that's not all we do with it.
All right, okay.
Because we don't own anything in the front of the lot there.
Yeah, there's just a 50-foot right of stretch of land that goes out to 121. Willie Wells owns all the rest of it.
Willie owns all the rest of it. think we can get Willie to buy that for several hundred thousand?
We'll put you the head of that too.
Okay.
Okay?
Mark, do you want to withdraw that motion?
Yeah,
We really don't?
Martin says we don't
Okay.
really need a motion, so.
Okay, so
Okay.
motion withdrawn. I think,
Okay, John. The only other item I probably ought to bring up is because you're all talking about our property liability insurance was just renewed at a considerable cost, which is going to have effect on this year's budget, and we're going to have to scramble for some money to pay.
it has already been renewed. We
The-
lost one
The
carrier.
policy was due the 1st of July. We had to bind the insurance. The policy is in effect.
And that's what I gave you all a memo about, because we'll have to move some money around in order to pay that premium by next Tuesday.
Martin, how much did that go up from last year?
It went up 141,000.
100 how much?
141,000.
Okay, I guess we're going to speak to that when we get down to number 9, transfers. Thank you, Barb. Committee reports. Dale?
Oh, well, the Budget and Finance Committee has been meeting every Wednesday, and we're going to have a little special session after tonight's meeting with the sheriff, since Wednesday's such a busy day for him. But, and we'll continue on, we have someone else scheduled to talk to tomorrow, so Budget Committee is working. Hopefully we'll accomplish something useful before second week of August. Right, guys?
No magic answers, no.
We haven't found the magic wand yet. But we're hunting for it.
Debbie reminds me that perhaps this is a good time to talk about the budget hearings. We need to get that on the schedule so people can clear time. Have you looked ahead to the month of August?
We normally schedule them for the second week of August.
That would be the week of the 12th through the 16th. How does that look for everyone?
Fine for me.
Fair Week is what, July the 28th through August the 3rd?
Right, yes.
And we'd have the week prior to get everything together. Give Debbie a little bit of time.
We, our health insurance is supposed to have estimates for us the first week. And I did, I think we hit a little bit on health insurance costs last time. This kind of goes along with the budget, but I did talk a little bit to Brad Wilson about maybe if he had any suggestions on trying to get our costs down a little bit, and he gave me a couple of ideas, and I will be sending those on to our carrier and see if they can kind of look at that. He suggested maybe we've still been hung up on trying to get around this for people that are 65 and older, about trying to get the cost of that down, but still not hurt those. And it seems like every time we get one problem solved, we kind of hit another obstacle. And I had wondered about maybe a health savings account that we could set up, but you can't do that for just certain segments of it. You would have to do it for everyone.
100%.
Is what I'm kind of hearing, but then I asked a little bit about health savings account, and that might be a way, according to what Brad said, that can be a way of helping to control the premiums. And I was very skeptical when he said that And like I said, I know so little about it, so I'd like to hear some discussion with our health insurance, maybe raise our deductibles, but then provide health insurance, provide the health savings account and put money into that to where they can pay that deductible. So anyway, we just have to see, maybe it isn't a viable option, maybe it is, maybe they don't want to do it, so.
And that would give us the first week.
That
to
would
be-
give us the
to
first
review
week
with
to get some of that.
Yourself, Barton, myself, the committee. Okay,
I should
so
do.
is everybody good with the week of August the 12th?
Yeah.
All
August
right.
5th,
Pardon?
12. Okay.
12, 12.
What time?
8 a.m.
You want to, yeah, well, probably 8:30
8:30?
if you wanted to, that's,
8:30 to,
and what, I think last year, what, did we have 3? Did we have 4 full days? How many was it, Russ? I
We
can't.
had 3 full days, wasn't it, then the others?
We had 3
like
full
3 or 4 hours
days.
a night?
We block in for the whole week, and then we use that way we have it advertised for. And,
So we're gonna start on Monday morning, 12th,
yeah,
8:30?
yeah.
okay. Dale, anything else you want to add to your? So,
I can't think of anything, Shirley.
okay. Russ? How's your committee coming?
Oh, very slowly, very
Very
slowly. We haven't really got started on it, and it's not gonna be at this budget. What
Okay.
we've been talking about, it won't be ready with this thing. There's a lot more to just what we talked about is,
Is there
we gotta
any,
really get into this, we gotta get really into these salaries, but
okay, anything
it
that
doesn't sound like it's gonna be.
the rest of
anything
us
good
could do to
do.
help?
Mhm.
Anything the rest of us can do to help?
Anytime you wanna jump in there, just jump in. I mean, help any way you can. Debbie's willing to help, so is Kathy, but that's gonna be, that just don't happen that ain't gonna happen for a while,
Well,
with the way it's going.
maybe we could set up an off week
Well,
time.
we're gonna talk to the sheriff tonight, right after this thing, after,
Okay.
just talk about it there, but,
Oh, that's a
it's
beginning,
just,
right? Okay,
I haven't received those, the books we get from,
Purdue or someplace.
yeah, well, I think we get one from Farm Bureau, and then we get one Indiana Association of Counties that we usually use that compares like counties of size together and what they spend, and I have not received those yet.
so we could work to last year's until we get the new
Yeah.
latest and greatest. Okay. Anything else on those two? If not, we can move down to number 6, unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business from last week, or last month, rather? Okay. How about new business? Just continue on with our old business, huh? Number 8, additional appropriations, county general, prosecutor's bad check fund. Does everybody have them in front of you?
It's kind of same old thing.
I'll move to approve the prosecutor's request for additional for $27.50 in the bad check fund.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 2, the covered bridge maintenance, $3,135.
I will talk to that. We receive $1,850 every year from the state for covered bridge, and that's for maintenance. And even though ours is the bridge to nowhere, we still get the $1,850. And Mike Bottomley, the city parks director, had came to the commissioners and we requested repairs be funded, and the total repairs ended up being and I don't know whether anyone's noticed, especially during the bicentennial, they painted the bridge and then they painted the roof red, and then they did some repairs where some boards were knocked out and had to repair. So the contractor that did the work was $3,100, and it was a local contractor. Paint was $1,239.64, and Wells Lumber for lumber and other materials was $563.20, for a total cost of $4,902.84. We currently have $1,850 appropriated, so I'm requesting $3,135, which will get an additional in there to pay the cost of this.
Debbie, I got some questions.
Uh-huh.
We get $1,850 every year for the Longwood Bridge.
Yes.
What happens, are we spending out $1,850 a year, or?
No, you'll see right here, our January 1 fund balance was $10,478.42.
Is that for the, only thing we're doing is taking that out of that fund and paying the repairs? Okay.
Yeah. And we'll still have $9,000 when we get done. The last time we spent anything was last year. There was Eagle Scout that wanted a project, and I think what he did was put some fencing inside the bridge to keep people from getting in there and kicking boards out. And use some other materials for there wasn't really much done. So this was for painting and all.
To spruce it up. And they did use the bridge a lot with the bicentennial. A lot of the activities centered around the bridge and next to the bridge.
All we have to do to get the money is, I just send in how many bridges we have in our county, and then, we receive the money. I think usually receive it in August. I'm not sure.
So the money is there, it's just a matter of appropriating.
it to use.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next item. Transfer fee plat books, software support. This is Jerry Gobin, has some information for us.
This is for the GIS, and the money will come out of the transfer fee plat book fund, and there's about $37,546 in that fund, and what we're requesting is $11,600. $6,000 for the GIS support, which used to be in the surveyor's budget, but we took that out of the surveyor's budget last year, and that's why, so we could pay for it out of this transfer fee plat book money, so that would save $6,000 out of the general fund. And then we need $3,600 for the annual website hosting, putting it on the website. And then I need another additional license in my office to work on GIS plat books. And that's what the $2,000 is for. So we're asking for $11,600 total.
Who gets 2,000, state or?
No, the company that actually does it, WTH, I'll pay them to get those licenses.
So it's a software license as opposed to a license, a personal license that
Yeah,
you would pay the state for.
Yeah, it's just for the software.
I'll move
For use of
to
it.
approve the transfer fee.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That moves us down to transfers and local road and street. Jay, is that?
What I wanted to do is I wanted to transfer money out of bituminous into equipment repair, because we're running low, because we've had a tractor over there. We had to repair both our mowing tractors, and it's cut us down to about $2,000. And I want to transfer $10,000 out of bituminous into that. It's just straight transfer.
So it's really not.
Just shifting money around.
It's just transferring, not additional appropriation. That's where you've got transfer. Okay. So you've got an additional for 10 and then a reduction.
Well,
And It's
Well-
really just a transfer.
Just a
Okay.
transfer.
Okay.
Yeah, ignore those two, because it's out of the same fund. And I think Ken
With
was.
the new numbers, it got her confused, I think what happened.
Is this a good time to ask the question? You were looking at a piece of equipment that could replace one that we have to keep repairing? This probably isn't the same one though, is it?
I got the, I've got a copy of the quote. I haven't showed it to Mark, I told Mark what it was, but I haven't showed it to him yet. It was way more than I thought it would be.
I'm sure. And they don't go down. But I knew that piece of equipment always needed repair. And I didn't know if that was the same piece that you were asking for.
Okay. Oh, I thought I had it in here.
Is that the Canadian company?
That's the copy of it right there. It was $163,000, way more than what I figured it was gonna be.
That's a
It
lot.
was a nice piece of equipment, but it's way more than what we need to pay for something for doing that.
Well, the idea too was, if I'm not mistaken, they want you
Multiple
to
things,
buy
yes.
all of the other
Yeah.
attachments too.
Yeah,
To add
because
on.
it breaks it down right there, is what it is. And the attachments are like $18,000 a piece or something like that. I forget what it was.
One look at that makes it look, the $10,000 look a lot better, doesn't it? So this money is in the budget, it's just we're
Yep, just a
transferring it
transfer.
from one to another. Could we have a motion
Make a
to,
motion to approve the 10,000 transfer.
second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. If you would add in, pencil in on our agenda here, the county general insurance. Debbie was talking about it a little bit ago at Barton, about what's happened with our insurance carrier for this. This is for the county's liability and property coverage.
And the reason this is coming to you late, and I just finished it up, is I just got the claims for it today, and they have to be paid at the commissioners meeting next Tuesday. Our
We have a
insurance
memo?
went in effect on 7/1, and the whole insurance is more than this, but this is the portion that's paid out of county general. There are some other budgets we're having to do a few transfers, but this one had transfers between departments that has to be done with approval of council. So the total premium that will come out of county general is $183,470. Our beginning appropriation in the insurance line that's in the commissioner's budget is $75,000, of which we had a couple of claims in there. I kind of looked at those. We had a couple things in there that we had paid already. And so we have $66,327.60 left in that line item. So we're going to need $117,142.40. So rather than have to ask for an additional in county general, which we wouldn't have had time to do because of advertising requirements, I'm proposing that we transfer $20,000 from the county general courthouse budget in the telephone line, $67,000 from county general courthouse and utilities, and $30,200 from the commissioner's budget and service contracts, which would total to the $117,200, which would allow me to pay the claim on Tuesday. This is something that the budget committee will have to look at for sure in the 2014 budget. Brad Wilson, Lawson and Myers did say he's hopeful that the rates will go down within a year if we can control our claims, and I think we are looking to at safety committees and other things that we can do to help improve that. And it wasn't just claims paid, it was the potential of claims that they look at. So the other thing is that I discussed with, we discussed at that last budget meeting is whether, did we discuss that, whether commissioners would be willing to do an additional in the courthouse operating fund? That would have to wait until August. And that would be, and that is funded by the edit monies, and there is some additional funds in there for this year's budget to pay utility costs that would otherwise have come from county general. So that will help the bottom line fund balance as we go into year end and get us in a little better position. So that's, you know, if we don't, you know, that isn't done, that will have to be advertised, done in August. If not, we will have to do an additional in county general because we only have about $2,900 left in the courthouse operating fund to pay utilities for the rest of the year. So we will have to switch over to pay July claims. I left enough money in these two funds. Typically telephone has $25,000 and utilities has $80,000. I left enough to pay in there to pay July funds. But if we can switch that over,
So
pay the rest of the year's utilities from the edit monies.
from the additional edit funds, money, so.
When did we budget last year for this liability?
$75,000.
I got a question for you. Most of us know what happened to make our fund go up so high so fast. Would you explain that so people would understand what's going on?
Which fund? You mean the
Why our insurance premium went up so high?
well,
What's some of the circumstances that caused it?
one is claims activity, and other is our liability issues. We had I think Brad said he looked at it over the last several years. The pug mill, the copper was stolen out of that twice. I think that was between the two claims. Jay was at almost $20,000 between those two claims. We've had some, you know, vehicle accidents and have we had any accidents, Billy, in sheriff's vehicles? I don't know.
We had, I think maybe one.
Yeah.
One that I know of.
And, you know, we are in the day and age that everyone likes to sue for everything, or there's potential for lawsuits and they file tort claims and such. Whether it ever comes to the insurance company having to pay anything out or not, typically when things get filed, you know, we have to defend ourselves. There were basically 3 EEOC complaints filed. None of them were determined that the county was at fault for anything. However, we had to pay to defend ourselves, and I think that was, I know, one we paid a $1,200 deductible on, and their cost was over $5,000, the insurance company's cost. So, you know, whether people are successful in their lawsuits against the county or not, we still have to pay to defend ourselves, and that goes to the insurance, and they retain an attorney, and, you know, that drives up the cost whether they're successful or not.
Well, and is it true that they set aside a certain amount for a particular lawsuit filed, then they have
Yes, they do,
to,
whether they spend the money or not.
they have to recognize the possibility of paying a claim, so.
Yeah, it's, a lot of it is potential versus actual claims paid. It isn't like the health insurance, because right now the health insurance, we're at 104%, I think it is, premium to claims ratio.
Okay, Wilson is saying that he hopes that it can go down if we can control our claims.
Well,
what
I
are we
say
working on to
control our
control our
claims.
claims?
Huh?
How are we gonna control our claims?
Well, I
What are we
think,
doing?
I say control, I don't know whether control is a good word. I think that if we show we have some, what do I want to say?
You're showing some initiatives, some safety programs and things of that nature.
Yes,
That
we
helps,
have
well, that would help.
something in place to,
Yeah,
you
do we have
know,
that in place?
That's what she's.
and then
that's what
review
she's
all
saying
of our
that we put in
standing
place.
operating procedures, you know.
Well, and again, this premium was to a different company because the company that we had dropped us as carriers. So you couldn't go back to that company and say, hey, this is an unreasonable increase. We, in essence, were being held over a barrel because,
And there aren't really a lot of carriers that provide insurance for municipalities. And I think Brad had to shop around. He is looking at if we can raise the deductible, drop full coverage on some of our older vehicles and maybe, raise some premiums on the other ones. He is looking at maybe being able to maybe get a credit back on a little bit of this.
Who in the county, Deb, is responsible for setting up this, to, try to control these claims? Who,
It would come under the purview of the commissioners.
that would come under the commissioners, okay?
And any part that was for the jail or the sheriff would do that portion because that's his bailiwick.
Jay, have you had any claims against, the highway had any claims?
I think the only one we've had been against the Pug Mill. And we moved it over to our lot, fenced the whole lot in and tried to stop it. That's all we could do. We couldn't leave it over there where it's at, because they've done it 2 months in a row.
Okay.
so we have 2 claims.
Billy, can't you catch him?
Well, they're slick. You can be responsible for that, or when we put him in jail, we're responsible for him there too. So.
I think you even you moved it, and did you build a fence or something too?
Yeah,
in
we put a whole
addition?
fence up around the whole
Yeah.
lot. Well, the biggest part of the lot.
Yeah.
What you're saying is that Billy's saying he's only asked, how many accidents you had? 1? And we gotta-
I'm thinking,
Over the last several years, I think he
Oh.
went back and looked at,
I'd say
they went back.
3, 4 maybe. Probably.
And then the Pug Mill was 20,000, we lost there. And our insurance goes up 117,000. I mean, if that's, what other
think
kind of
that
claims do
one-
we have?
That one high-speed chase, I think all of the city, the county, probably the state police and everybody got hit on
She gonna do it.
tort claims on that.
Right.
Russ,
Well, and again,
there's
the
there's
potential
no
liability.
question in my mind, we're being taken advantage of by the insurance companies.
If that's what the claims we got, I mean, it
Well-
doesn't sound good.
We haven't had enough claims to justify.
Well, we got 2 big claims that haven't been mentioned, and that's probably the real problem why it's gone up that high.
Well, we've had 2 deaths in the jail, and 1 has been settled, and there's been no actual claim filed for another. But the potential is there, and our old carrier is still responsible for that.
Billy, what about other counties? Do they have accidents like that, I mean, in the jail, suicides or? I mean, I'm just curious, how many?
Every sheriff in his term, 1 or 2, will have at least 1 suicide. At least.
Okay.
So, to say that we are the odd people out, or our county's any different than anybody else's, I'd say if you do the research, as it is throughout the entire government system that's been established in the state of Indiana, 70% of the liability and the budgets revolve around law enforcement and the activities that it incurs. Everything. No matter if it's our little town, it's Marion County, 70% of budgets have to do with law enforcement. We have 14 guys carrying guns. I have 14 vehicles out here driving around. We have 100 inmates that we are solely responsible for. If they choose to take their own life, unless I'm standing in there, we cannot stop it once they decide that. And once that happens, automatically, you just as well get ready to defend it. Now, for this insurance company to sit here and say they are doubling our freaking rates I don't get it. We haven't paid yet. Let's make sure we get found guilty of something. Now, to defend it, we're going to have to defend it. We've got to defend ourselves.
I talked to Brad today about this, about 2 o'clock, and I said, well, what if the county's found innocent on these charges? Would our rates go down? And he said they would go down. But he said normal cycles on insurance run in 3-year cycles, so he doesn't foresee our premiums going down for about 3 years.
Right.
Because they run in those cycles. Now, he said if these cases that are pending, if they go in our favor, they obviously will come down quicker. But if they go against us, we're pretty much stuck for at least 3 years.
Right.
Billy,
Well-
what does the Sheriff Association say when you guys have your meetings about the insurance, when you're talking about the whole state?
No,
They have nothing.
there's no discussion about it.
No.
I guess I don't know that much about insurance, but there are 91 other counties that have insurance. I'd like to know if they're dealing with the same hikes. Because somebody in Marion County is getting shot every day. There's no darn good way that they don't have high premiums, if that's the case.
Debbie, do you have these transfers prepared, these proposed transfers, do you have them prepared?
Yes, I
Well,
do.
we
I
don't-
just bottom lined it to here because I thought it would look a little easier.
Yeah.
That's not them.
Okay, if you have them prepared, there's nothing that we can do to change this situation tonight. It's gonna take some,
It has to be paid.
it's gonna take some long-term work. So, so that we don't have to stay all night with this, I'll move we approve the proposed transfers that the auditor has laid in front of you, totaling $117,200 to pay our liability, auto, and property insurance premiums that are due.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Been moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Transfers approved. One other question, so I guess maybe I direct this of Barton as far as the recommendations. Could we get copies? Could the council get a copy of what Brad has recommended as far as the safety committees and what have you?
We don't have.
We don't have that yet?
Brad hasn't recommended, he's putting together a program and getting different organizations to come in, and then we're gonna make the safety committee, put every department head on that committee and go through the process, but we're in the process of getting it
Okay,
constructed right now.
okay, good,
But we will do that.
good, yes.
Part of it is required by the insurance company that you do it, and at any rate, whatever you do should help with your premium, that you're
Right.
making an effort.
Yes, okay, thank you, thank you. All right, number 10, salary, 144s. Sheriff Wason.
We had to hire 2 people. One officer was dismissed, and another one was turned in their resignation and resigned on the spot. So we had a female spot open and a male spot open. We brought back Kyle Miller and Quindlen Leisure. They worked at the jail before. Both of them left for factory jobs, and that didn't work out too well for them, so they wanted to come back. So we rehired them back. Glad to have them back to get some more experience back in there. So I know we usually have to come over here and get those approved, but I'm not adding any staff. I'm just keeping it at the level we have. So those are the only 2 I have. I don't need to get so agitated with that whole insurance thing, but yet I'm pretty passionate about this whole police work thing that we all do. And it's got risk with it, it's got liability with it, and anytime we're in charge of people and something happens, there's going to be a price to pay. If it's defending ourselves or if there were mistakes made. Unfortunately, our litigation in this society is jumping through the roof. And they automatically think that counties have deep pockets and city has deep pockets, and that's why they fire them off in lawsuits. So, I'll be more glad to discuss any of those with you guys that we have pending and any of the situations with it. But with those still being active, I don't feel this is the proper setting for that. But you're all entitled to the information. So far we've taken about, last year at this time, we've taken about 3,100 calls. So far this year, we're almost at 4,000 for the same time. So business is good, unfortunately. It's bad business. So it's booming. Other than that, I have the 144s are really all I need. Unless you guys have questions, I'll be more than glad to field those questions for you, or anything you have to bring on.
I'll move to approve the 144 for the sheriff's department.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Billy.
Anything?
Did you get the showers fixed?
The showers have all been repaired. They seem to be working just fine. Fuzzy Lake's done a great job. We do good work anyway, so we really appreciate him coming in and knocking those out. The only problem really I think right now we're having is we have a leak in the roof. It is approximately a foot over my desk. So the kitty litter bucket that's been on my desk for 3 weeks, catching the drip, is still there. Right, Commissioner Fedor? So hopefully they're going to come in the morning and fix that. If not, I think I'm going to try to fix it myself. I'm not sure how yet, but I'm going to try to fix it. So,
Be careful on that roof.
yeah, I'm not,
It's supposed to be raining good tomorrow too.
no, we just had it put on.
Yeah.
When
Were
Fuzzy,
they
when
gonna
Fuzzy
make that
fixed
good?
those, how did he fix them? Did he use steel, aluminum, what?
Stainless steel.
Stainless
He came in with stainless, he took out all the old, or he went over the old that was there. The frames that were put in were still solid,
Okay.
but the metal they put over them was rusted through. So he came in with stainless steel and went in and riveted it back up over there. It's sealed up pretty tight. It should last, probably should last, it's gonna last Dale's lifetime, I'm sure, but it should last most of our.
He got the joke for you, Dan.
Not very long.
Should last most of our lifetimes. So it's working out great. Other than that, I mean, the jail is in pretty good shape, I think, until something happens, and we never know when that's gonna happen. So, we got some computer upgrades that are gonna have to be made before too much longer, and I think Ben's working on those. So, other than that, I think we're rolling along.
Okay.
I hope it's a long time before you have to replace that stainless steel.
Well, depending on how that meeting goes tonight, I'll let you know.
Okay. Patron concerns. Anyone? No patron concerns. That's a good thing. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if there's no council concerns.
I just want to say one thing. I just want to commend the Bicentennial Committee and all the volunteers that pulled off they did a great job. There's always going to be hiccups, but I think they did a great job and they should be proud of themselves, and I just wanted to commend them for the effort that they put forth, everybody involved.
I think we would all second that motion.
I think you're right.
Everyone involved with the bicentennial put in a lot of volunteer time and work, and they certainly deserve to be recognized for it.
Very good. Anything else? Jim? Mark? Russ?
No. Motion to
Okay.
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.